Hi again, it's Michelle. I'm here to talk about my surrogacy journey that I'm on for round 2. I've already successfully completed one surrogacy journey and I am in the very beginning of my second journey, so I wanted to talk about where I'm currently at in my journey as well as what's to come and what I've already experienced. Thought it would be fun if while I did all that, we went ahead and kind of got unready with me. I'm all ready. I didn't wear any makeup today. I didn't leave my house, so I'm already kind of unready, but I was gonna go ahead and we're gonna wash my face. We're gonna braid my hair, I'm gonna put in some hair oils while I just get ready for bed and talk about my journey that I'm going through. So I actually just had an ultrasound appointment last week for my medical clearance process, which is one of the very first steps when it comes to being a surrogate. So you match with your family, and then after that process, you will go to their fertility clinic and they will check a whole bunch of things. They check your blood, they give you a full pap smear, they're gonna check your medical history, they also check your uterine lining at whatever time your cycle is, and then after you pass medical clearance, you can move forward with the process. My medical clearance took a little bit longer than I was hoping. I don't know if it was just because I had just had a failed transfer or what was happening. Sometimes your cycle's a little funny. They did try 2 months of estrace, which is an estrogen pill form to try to help build my uterine lining, and both of those months I did not have a good reading, so I was getting a little nervous. So this third month they decided to go ahead and let me try to have a natural cycle, which just meant no medication, just my normal cycle, nothing tampering with it, to see what happens. My first month I was 5.8 millimeters. The second month I was 5.4 millimeters. Again, both of those times I was on my estrace. This third time, not being on estrace, I was 7.95 at the thickest and they wanted 8. So I was 0.05 away, but I was hopeful that my clinic would give a little leeway because I had gone up over almost 2 full millimeters. Over 2 full millimeters. So I was correct. They did go ahead and grant me medical clearance, which was great because I had passed the bulk of it back in December and it's now April. So I'd already passed like the blood work, my medical background checks and everything like that. My pap smear came back good. Everything but my uterine lining thickness was good. So we were only waiting on this to pick up. And so I was really relieved when we finally got the green light. My parents are in the process of asking some questions to the fertility clinic, just some clarifying questions when it comes to the embryos as well as what process looks like going forward. And once they have those questions answered, we will slide into the next section, which is my legal clearance. I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna wash my face real quick and then we can start applying all of my skincare routine. Okay, my face is clean and I am all good to go ahead and start applying my skincare. So I went ahead and I just washed my face with my normal Peach and Lily face wash that I have. My next step is going to be my niacinamide brightening toner. I use this every morning and every night. Yeah, so like I said, we're gonna be sliding into that legal process next, which I'm super excited about. I've done the legal process twice, one for my successful transfer with my past family, and then we did a second legal contract when we tried to transfer their last embryo. So I've been through the legal clearance process twice. Both times it took about 4 weeks. Even the second time they were really excited and they were hopeful that it was going to go faster. It did not, and I was kind of expecting that, so it did not deter me from my excitement. I knew it was going to take about a month. They were hopeful to get it done in a week, which was a big ask, but I definitely wasn't expecting that, so I knew I was going to take my time. At this point, everything that I've learned from the surrogacy journey, I'm doing my serum next. It's just a peptide serum. I've switched from using retinol to a peptide since they do not recommend retinol treatments or retinol skincare products during pregnancy. And since I don't know when I'm gonna get pregnant, it just makes sense for me to just go ahead and switch away from doing that early, and I'm only buying the peptide products right now. So I got my peptide serum for my second step. I knew it was gonna take about a month. Oh my gosh, I'm almost out of this stuff. So I'll continue with peptide, and I'll just have to get some more. I know it's probably take about a month again. It might take even longer because I don't know this family. I don't know if they're gonna have different asks than my last family. They're very similar to my last family. They're also based out of Beijing, China, just like my previous family was. So I'm kind of expecting some similarities because they're from the same country, but I don't know. Every family is different no matter if you're from the same country or not. So we'll see what their asks are. I did get to ask a couple questions during my interview process with them. So I know that we're on the same standing when it comes to how I'm allowed to give birth. I can ask for whatever medications I need. I'm allowed to get, I guess, any medications. I don't know what else they would ask for at childbirth. I did ask about the blood cord banking. I did blood cord banking with my first surrogacy baby, which I did not do with my son, and it was a completely new experience for me. And I know that it's pretty popular in China, or at least it's becoming popular. And so after experiencing it last time, I thought it might be on the table again, and they said yes, they do want to do that, so I can mentally prepare myself. It wasn't difficult I just kind of laid there while I let the doctors do all the difficult stuff. They basically just squeezed out some of the excess blood from the umbilical cord and also gathered some of the umbilical cord to take for blood cord banking so that they can use it for their family against illnesses, cancer. I think it's a lot of the stem cells as well. So all of that is included. So I asked them if I needed to mentally prepare myself for that again, and they said yes, because the process did take about 45 minutes, and it happens right after the delivery, obviously. And so whenever I gave birth last time, it was 1 in the morning. So this is eye cream. I almost put that on my forehead. This is just a normal All About Eyes rich eye cream. Just reduces circles, puffiness, etc. Whatever happens when you're a mother and a surrogate. So I'm excited to step into the legal process. I'm hopeful that I'll get maybe a similar lawyer that I had last time. I'm actually working with the same fertility clinic as well as the same doctor as last time. So I thought that was super cool because I already know the doctor and the nurses, and I know their emails, and I know their phone numbers, and they know me, they know my medical history, and I know what their protocol is when it comes to embryo transfers and everything else. I know what kind of medicine I'm gonna be on, I know how long I'm gonna be doing shots and everything like that. So I'm really excited to work with them again because I liked them a lot my first time around. So I'm hopeful, since I'm working with the same fertility clinic and the same surrogacy company, Giving Tree, that maybe I can also get set up with the same lawyer. I thought that would be awesome, and just kind of keep it comfortable so I know what I'm doing, who I'm talking to, and it'll make the process a whole lot faster. And then my previous legal clearances, there have been some passings of back and forth of the contract. So what that looks like is they have a lawyer and I have a lawyer. The intended parents have a lawyer and I have a lawyer. And our lawyers are looking out for the best interest of their parties. So even though they hire my lawyer and pay for it, him or her, they are looking out for my best interest as a surrogate when it comes to what I want in the contract. I'm not looking for anything specific. I think one of the main things that I have enjoyed seeing in my contract is like life or death situations, because none of us want to plan for that, but you have to because you can't control everything. So like life or death situations, if it's like between me or the baby, I'm getting picked, which is crazy to put on a piece of paper and sign. But that's the reality of the situation. Is I don't want my son to lose me, so God forbid we ever have to make that decision. It's already on paper. The hospital knows what to do. No ifs, ands, or buts. We both signed the contract and agreed to these terms. So I'm hopeful to keep that in my contract. They also normally list a person, again, God forbid, something happens to the intended parents. They do list a person who will take baby if need be. So that's super comforting knowing that I'm not gonna suddenly have to adopt a brand baby. Let's see, what else happens in my contract? Of course, the payment plan is also discussed and signed on. I think last time, my legal contract, I think both times, it was 39 pages. It was pretty easy the second time because I was working with the same family, the same clinic and everything. So we just kind of copy and pasted the same contract and got to use it again. My lawyer wanted to add a couple other things just because of the state that I live in. Missouri at the time was, there was no legal abortions, not even like for the mother's health or anything. So we had to unfortunately talk about where I would go if the parents decided to have an abortion, because I was fully on their side if they wanted to have an abortion for medical reasons, etc. For honestly any of their reasons, it's their baby. I was fully on their side, so we had to discuss and pick out a clinic that I would be driving to / flying to, depending on the situation, that I could safely go to have an abortion. My one state over in Illinois was going to be where I was going to head, but now, this past election year, we actually changed our law in Missouri, so I don't think that's going to be a problem on my contract this time around, which I'm very grateful for, because it did cause a little bit of a hiccup when it came to signing our contract. Where I'm getting the abortion is no longer an issue, because my state now allows abortions, which I think is incredible, but not the topic. So yeah, after they get their clarifying questions answered, we will step into that legal clearance process. Both times after the legal clearance process, I was starting medication within 3 weeks. So I know the medical clearance took 3 months, which I think is going to be the longest part of the process for me. So it was 3 months to get through medical clearance, about a month typically to get through legal, we could even say 2, and then about a month until I'm starting medication and we're moving baby over. So I'm super hopeful that this process is going to be just as quick and that I can hopefully be pregnant in the next 2 months or so, and that baby will stick the first time around. I have full faith in my doctors and their testing of the embryos as well as the medication that I'm going to be taking. I am a very type A person. I've shared in my other videos some of the the organization tools that I have from the medication, either it be my pill organizers or I have a little 3-tier drawer that I use to hold syringes and medication, as well as a rainbow to hold my weekly medication. I'm very type A when it comes to the organization of it, which I think also helps with the structure of it. I've never missed a shot. I've never been late on a shot. I'm also grateful that my job is work from home and that my son's school is only a block away, so I always do my progesterone and estrogen shots in the morning. What that looks like is I'll typically wake up, get my son ready for school, I'll get ready for work, and then I'll take him to school, and around 9 a.m., about an hour and a half after I take my son to school, I will step into the kitchen and I will do my shots, which takes anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. I will say I do massage afterward for about 5 to 10 minutes as well, so it could be up to 20 minutes, but then I apply my heating pad and I go and I sit down at my desk. I like to leave my heating pad on for anywhere between 30 to 45 minutes, but then by 11 o'clock I'm done. The process is over. I just need to make sure that I take my prenatal vitamins and my folic acid and anything else that my parents / doctor's office has prescribed. Getting the shots done early in the morning when I know that I'm going to be home is the perfect time for me. There are some clinics I think that might give you more leeway. They didn't tell me specifically it has to be in the morning. That's just what worked for me and my family. So I'm grateful that I have a job that allows flexibility so that I can do my shots either in the morning or whatever is going to help me, because ultimately for me mentally, the surrogacy comes first. I have a full-time job. I love my job. I've been there for almost 6 years, but they offer a type of flexibility that allows me to put me and my personal life first. So I hope that I've expressed that to my intended parents, that I do plan to work throughout the entire surrogacy journey. I will get 6 weeks off after baby is born, so that'll be great because I know my intended parents are wanting breast milk pumped for a month while they're here in the States, which I think is awesome. I pumped breast milk for my son for a full 12 months. I even pumped for 3 months after last surrogate baby and donated to a company called NICU, which I've talked about in another video. And so I'm very comfortable pumping. I'm ready to take on that process again, even if it's only for a month. I know how incredible it is for the baby to have that breast milk. So I will have the 6 weeks off after I have the baby, and I'll be able to pump breast milk during that time. And my job is completely okay with me being a surrogate. They understand that when I come back, I can catch up on all my work. My job is very good because when I call out sick, I don't have to call in somebody to replace me. I just come back knowing that I have a day's extra work to catch up on. And if I'm gone for 6 weeks, they can shuffle my work around and make it work. So they know that I'm a surrogate. They're very comfortable with it. And I hope that my intended parents know that I do work full-time, but I hope that they're comfortable with the flexibility that my job does offer. About the legal process and what comes after this, I will say it is so quick how fast my clinic gets to me. It's like as soon as I've signed my contract, the very next day my clinic is calling me, hey, when is your next cycle? Hey, we want to know when your next cycle is so that we can pick out what day. Then we're going to start you on medication. And then the medication typically starts about 2 weeks before embryo transfer. So I'm currently on my cycle. So if we go a full 4 weeks until we sign the legal contract, then hopefully the clinic will call me and I can be like, I am on it right now. Send me the medication. They can overnight it. I've gotten medication within 24 hours from my clinic, even though they're all the way in California and I am all the way in Missouri. My clinic has the surrogates and intended parents and the embryo and the baby at the forefront of their mind there. I can call them anytime. I can email them and they get back to me as soon as possible. They call me with results as quickly as they can. I've loved my clinic last time just as much as I've loved Giving Tree. I'm working with a new case manager this time, which has been super interesting. The previous journey and a half, I worked with the same woman and she unfortunately had to leave the company, but she left in such a graceful way. I knew it was what was best for her and her family, and the company was sad to see her go, just like I was, but she made the transition to my new case manager so smooth, and my new case manager has been just as amazing. I haven't felt like a gap in my care. She messages me at least once a week, even when nothing's going on. During this whole medical clearance process, the 3 months we've been waiting, she's always there for me. Once a week, she's like, hey, by the way, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How's the estrogen treating you? She's checking in on me as well as covering all of my insurances, because even though I'm not actively pregnant, they've gone ahead and started a health insurance through my intended parents, so they're paying for a health insurance policy for me. I know with the health insurance policy that I'm only to use it for surrogacy related incidents, so I'm not using that for anything else, but they went ahead and they set that up, and it's actually set up through the hospital that I work for. That makes it super easy. It is a little odd to get a bill in in the mail, not directly from me because it's not my department, but I see it cocks up and I'm like, hey, what did my job send me? Nothing, it's my health insurance. So that's been a super fun part of the process. I think that was another thing I was talking about, was how I'm hopeful that my intended parents understand that my job allows me to put them first. So I've had my job for about 6 years. I do get to work from home. I can work whenever I want. I have to hit 40 hours every week unless I need to call in for whatever reason, but I can work those 40 hours in the morning, in the afternoons, in the evenings. I could pull 4 10-hour shifts. I could work 10 4-hour shifts if there was 10 days in a week, but there's not. If I have, like, my son has a school function, I could work 2 hours, clock off, go to the function, come home, work the other 6, etc. So that really helps when it comes to doctor's appointments. There's a lot of doctor's appointments involved for a surrogacy journey, so I am able to go to all of them. They're all within 15 minutes of me. I get reimbursed for my mileage that I do, but my job allows me to have flexibility to go to those no matter what time of day I have to go. Everybody knows it's hard to go in and see an OBGYN. I remember last surrogacy journey, I called them and I think I was about 8, almost 9 weeks pregnant, and they couldn't see me until I was 13 weeks, and I was begging them. I'm like, I need to see you between 10 and 12. The 13th week of my pregnancy was the soonest they could see me. So I made a mental note to prepare for that and to call them even sooner than 8 weeks. It was through the recommendation of my fertility clinic to call them 4 weeks before. That's why I called them at 8 to be seen by 12 at the latest, and they could not fit me in. I needed 5 full weeks after I called them, so I'm mentally prepared for that. And as soon as we know baby has stuck, I'm going to be calling my OB to schedule an appointment. Rather do it sooner and schedule it out later than try to call and not be able to be seen soon enough. Fingers crossed that my intended parents get their clarifying questions answered, and then we can slide into that legal clearance process and get through it as smoothly as we can with every side of the party feeling comfortable. Giving trees surrogacy.